Maybe.
Well, hello and welcome to our Subconscious Speaks. My name is Don Robert. I am with my dear friend and hypno partner,
Tina Orlando.
and together we are,
Tina Orlando.
and Dawn. So, funny story about that name, right? My daughter actually, I just spent a week. Oh, first of all, I have to apologize to our listeners. It's my fault. Tina was ready to go. I was in Kauai on vacation, and my daughter had this just great agenda for us and all these different things to do and shooting an episode. As much as it sounded really cool for me to like
Mhm.
be on a beach or something like this tropical setting to do an episode, yeah, it just didn't work out. So my apologies if you missed us. If you didn't notice, shame on you. No, I'm kidding. No shame. All
No
good.
shame.
You're all
It's fine.
welcome.
It's fine.
So if you're new to the channel and this is your first episode, it's a good one.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. We're gonna call this Happy Holidays. And then the catch line underneath is ho ho ho, oh no.
No.
Yeah. And so, just gonna have like an authentic conversation that Tina and I have been having for the last almost 5 years. We met at our beloved HMI, which is Hypnosis Motivation Institute, as students, and went on to both be in I think it was top five or six of the graduates. So we're award winning. We won all the awards, clinical achievement, honors, director's award, and what's that last one?
It's founders,
Yeah,
directors,
founders,
honors,
capital,
clinical.
clinical, and academic, right?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
and then Tina and I have both gone on to a second year of studies, mind body psychology, and Tina won more awards. So the coolest of which was the award for excellence, right? That was the name
Yes.
of it.
Yes. The award of excellence.
I
Yes.
mean, forgive my French, but that's pretty badass.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So,
Yeah.
all of that does it. We don't. I don't say that, or we don't talk about that to impress you, but to impress upon you that we are clinical, certified, knowledgeable, experienced professionals that have
Absolutely.
helped hundreds and hundreds of people over the years, and so out of our conversations that we had, we kind of birthed the idea of this. Tina was actually first initially solicited by a company to do a podcast, and that just kind of evolved into this. So if you're here for the first time, welcome. We encourage you to like, follow, subscribe, whatever buttons available to
Comment.
you on whatever streaming service you're using. Um,
Hmm.
I will tell
YouTube,
you that
Apple,
only
Spotify.
YouTube shows our faces. Everything
Spotify
else
does
is
if you have
yeah,
Spotify.
if you yes, well done. Tina is the auto corrector of my life. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
If you're a smart man, you surround yourself with brilliant women who are more than happy to correct you at any given time.
I was just saying.
And
I'm just
I
trying to help
say that
out.
with love. So Apple used to do this thing in Zoom where if you did signs, it would do these little background things, and it doesn't do it anymore.
No,
No, like
I
I
guess
just threw up
not.
a
Well, it
heart and
depends. Yeah.
no, what?
I don't know. It's happened to me, while I'm
You
on a
try.
session. No, I just did. Like you should say you're raising your hand. But when I'm in a session, it's done it the last week.
Yeah, the hand raising seems to work. Like I'll sometimes when I'm doing some Reiki and like I'm like throwing some energy at somebody while I'm giving them a journey, like my hand will raise and it's just funny. It just makes me giggle. But
Yeah.
I've noticed that everything else stopped working.
Oh,
Don't know
that's a
why.
shame. Zoom.
I don't know if that's new iOS 18.1
I don't know.
because Siri's evolving into that AI machine.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Uh all right. Well, so I was thinking about this as I had another experience that I will well, so Tina and I talked offline about some of my experiences in Hawaii, and there was one that is really kind of a nice lead in to what we're going to talk about today, which is, you get around family and there's some roles that we automatically seem to be put in. Um,
Yeah.
and we acquiesce, and because it's known and comfortable to us that we're
Hmm.
that role that we've been brought up to fulfill. Um, so I had an experience with my daughter where, there's some definite trauma left over from I separated from their mom when my youngest was pretty young, like 3 years old, and so they've been without their father living with them, except for holidays and summers, for a long time. And so uh, there was like Olivia was like having an experience where she was just, I don't know, she was reliving some stuff. There's some old triggers that were affecting her, and she started to get really snippy to me on day 3. And I didn't take it personal, which was really hard. And I just kind of let it run its course for about a day, and then just asked her what was going on, what was coming up for her. Like I certainly didn't try to therapize her, but when you're a therapist
Don't do that.
healer, you can't help it.
I know,
Um,
but don't do that.
no,
They
no,
don't like
no.
it.
And something really magical happened. She opened up and shared with me what was going on.
Hmm.
And just the saying it out loud, there was like this air that left the room kind of thing where
Hmm.
it just kind of came down, the energy came down, the angst.
Hmm.
And then the next 3.5, 4 days were just amazing. Um,
Hmm.
so it's kind of the lead into this idea of like, happy holidays, and we're all bombarded with advertisement. Oh, Black Friday, oh my God, right? And so
Hmm.
I want to talk about what what what's happening with all of this, right? The traditions, the tribes of people that we're going to be around, and all of these deep-seated beliefs of who we're supposed to be when we go and are around certain tribes of people. And then maybe a little about how we can help ourselves during this period. Because the holidays are super enjoyable for a lot of people, and a lot of people have a lot of kind of what? Please,
I
I've
don't
talked
think
enough.
so.
You don't think so? You think
No,
the holidays are happy and go lucky and
no,
everything's
no, no, no.
hunky
I was
dory?
going to say, I don't think the holidays are a happy time. I think
Really?
they're actually quite miserable time for a lot of people because they're having to be something A that they're not, something that they've grown out of,
Mm,
because we do put people in those boxes. It's a time of high stress, a lot of conflict, a lot of old conflict. I think that's part of the problem and why I think the holidays have diminished so much. Because I mean, like if you think back to when we were kids, holidays were a big thing. Like it was a huge thing. And now you look around and you don't really see that same behavior out of people. And I think it's because so many people are just like, I'm over it. I'm over tap dancing. I'm over doing the tango with my entire family. Like and it's really quite sad. Because those people, like, I don't want, like the people that go, I don't want to go see my family for the holidays. Um, they should be grateful they have a family to go see.
yeah,
That's the other side of it, is
right.
that there's so many people that are actually alone on so I don't really think the holidays are that fantastic. I think we forgot what the holidays is supposed to be about.
Uh, I can't believe you didn't say it, but would you agree that the holidays have been turned into just this commercial process?
Well, yeah, I mean that's what
I mean,
we're
it's
saying.
always been commercial, right? But
Yes,
it
absolutely.
just with the explosion of the internet, and I mean, we're dating ourselves here, but when we were kids, you couldn't Google anything. Like there was nothing.
There
You
was
had to
no
go.
Google.
You literally had to go to the library and get this big book called an encyclopedia down if you
I
wanted to
mean,
learn about something. It was so outdated; it wasn't even
the
legitimate.
only way you knew about Christmas presents was if like you got the Toys R Us magazine or the Service Merchandiser or a catalog from
Yeah,
Sears. Like
there were
you
still
that was
commercials
your
on TV, that's for sure.
there was that, but
Yeah.
um yeah, it's always been commercial, but I think that I mean, for all of its wonderful advantages of having, internet, social media, all those things, I think it's really detrimental when it comes to a family unit. I think it ruins holidays. I think it ruins perception. I think that it's really detrimental at this point in our lives because it's more bad than good emotionally, I think. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And do
Yeah.
do you think that I mean we're coming up on some pretty significantly known holidays. Thanksgiving is right around the corner, which is in itself, right, a different gathering than Tina and I celebrate Christmas. So, I mean, of
Hmm.
course, I have other friends that celebrate other traditions, Hanukkah and what
Hmm.
have you. But uh, that typically, like, I just want to talk about that. And I know that I don't know how much of your life you want to share with our audience about kind of what we all have our own internal perspectives that drive our opinions and experiences. So I don't know how much you want to open up to that or
I don't have anything to hide.
okay.
I don't
So
have anything to hide.
um how old were you when the family stopped being able to gather as a family because people were passing?
Um, 40. So last 10 years.
Okay. So you had both parents and
Hmm.
sibling right? Siblings? Why do I
Yeah,
not know if you have siblings? How do I
I have
not?
siblings. I have a brother
Where the
who's
hell is
living,
he?
and he's in Northern California in Mount Shasta.
Everybody's up in NorCal, right? Yeah. Not
He's
everybody. Your
way
son's
up
with me.
there, though.
Way up there,
He,
like out in the
he's
mountains, kind of.
he's lives at the base of Mount
All
Shasta.
right, that sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Some of
My
our
sister
listeners are
passed
going,
away.
I thought these guys were like best friends. How could he
How does
even
he not know
how
that?
could he not listen? As I said to my daughter, who was expecting me to remember every she's actually studied the islands and studied she can speak Hawaiian. Like
Nice.
she's expecting me to remember all these very difficult names to pronounce first and foremost because they don't pronounce the way they spell. And
Mm-mm.
I'm like, I just had to tell her, like, Liv, here's the deal. I just don't retain that kind of information anymore. Like I retain the big stuff, but I
Mm.
just don't have room to memorize, this or that or where we were yesterday. Like I thank God,
I'm
like when
also
you
on overload on vacation.
right? When you take a picture at some place, really cool thing that happens with Apple is it tells you where you are. I
Right,
love that.
right, right.
Unless you're off the grid and then you're like,
Good luck.
and then something magical happens when you get back on the grid. I don't know how it finds the information of where you were, but there it is.
Google Maps,
I'm okay with it.
Apple Maps.
I'm okay with it. Yeah. Um, okay,
Yeah, so
so
I have
what
a
I'm
brother. He's in Northern California.
okay. And where I was going is like, the Thanksgiving, even if you're someone whose family celebrates Thanksgiving all the time and it's a big deal, you have your own, what's the word I'm looking for? Not routine, but help me.
Tradition?
There you go.
Tradition.
The tradition is, oh, we go to Grammy's house, or
Right.
oh, we go to Uncle Steve's because he's the big Tefurkin chef, or whatever, right?
Mm.
So what was let's start with Thanksgiving. I think we should talk about all three because they're three separate scenarios, right? There's the Thanksgiving scenario and the gathering,
Uh-huh.
and then there's the Christmas or Hanukkah. Well, so Christmas is tricky because it's a very specific targeted 2 days, right? There's Christmas Eve and then there's
Mhm.
Christmas, whereas Hanukkah
Right.
is 8 crazy nights of lights, right? It's eight, or
Yeah.
that's Adam Sandler I'm channeling.
That's
Sorry,
Adam
no
Sandler, but it's
offense,
the
please.
same
Sorry,
thing.
sorry.
It's the same thing. I mean,
Yeah,
that's why he wrote it.
yeah.
No, we've done, yeah. So growing up, it was always, either at my parents' house or grandmother's, one of my grandmothers. But the older I got, it was, I was going to do Thanksgiving for my kids and, whatever, all of my family that were living at the time. And that's when you start. as a kid, you're pushed into the roles, right? Like we're saying, like
You're
this is
literally
your
at the children's table,
yes,
which is
yes.
not the main table, people. If you're
No,
a table that's dragged over to the end of the main table, but
yeah, yeah. I mean, so it just depended on what part of my life, So,
yeah,
as
right.
a kid, I was always, with my grandparents, my parents, but um, yeah. So, but they were all much older. So, keep it in perspective. They were all very much older, the older family, old Italian family.
Okay.
So, they died off quickly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So we've got these emotional kind of loops and patterns that we are either thrust into because that's our role within the
Mm,
family dynamic. And there's like, for me at least, there's definitely food um um
motivation.
what's the word I'm looking for? I don't I'm like still on vacation in my mind. It's like
The
it
type of food?
the mashed potatoes have to be a certain way, and
Oh yeah.
the like, because
Yeah.
there is some variety out there.
Hmm.
But like when because I've been to other people's homes, because I've moved around, right? So I haven't always been living within reach of a family. So I've been invited
Mm.
to other people's family, and like instantly I'm thinking, well,
These are mom's potatoes.
probably not going to be like my mom's, right?
Well, it's funny that, I mean, my mom was an excellent cook, and one of my grandmothers was excellent, and then the other one was not. And we knew even as kids, because as soon as we'd start to walk into the one grandmother's house, my mother would be like, "Okay, look, we'll stop at Burger King on the way home. Don't eat anything. Do not touch anything in grandma's
Ouch.
house."
Ouch.
You don't know how long it's been sitting there. We're like, what? I mean, as
Wow.
kids, unless we knew, like, one of my godmother was there, and if she brought food, I could eat my godmother's food, but I couldn't touch anything else. Yeah.
Oh my.
So, but then you
Wow.
go to my other grandmother's house, and it's like, you just walked into Italy, and there's just all this
Yeah.
amazing, Italian style food. So,
Right. Yeah.
um, you could starve at the other grandmother's house.
Yeah. And it's funny, the passing of the torch. I saw it with my grandmother to my mom, and then certainly saw it from my mom to my sister. And my
Mm,
sister is the only one that's gotten even close to mirroring and creating the same flavors and tastes, whether those are healthy or not. As what my mom ate. And it's just, it's referred to as comfort food, right? It just this maybe it's a little bit of nostalgia and remembrance of maybe
it is.
what felt like better times,
It's comforting.
Be-
It's home.
yeah.
Yeah.
And way less responsibility when you're 8 than, when you're 18 or even 28, or certainly when you're 48, right? It's like
Hmm.
it's just different because now you're hosting maybe, and you've got to deal with all of that.
Hmm.
It is quite the to do,
It is.
and hats off to the people that dig in and own it and create it and plate it and serve it, because
For many years, I did
you
it.
did.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh, my mother stopped cooking once. I think my daughter was 3, and I just kind of took over, and she watched over to make sure it was going to be good the first time, and then after that, I was on my own. Like, you don't know, you're going to have
Yeah.
to make that gravy on your own. Your grandmother
Right.
taught you, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I just took over, and that's an interesting, I don't know if there's those same traditions today. I don't know if moms are passing it that way.
Well, my mom passed it my sister, but my sister didn't have children, so she has like we have family friends who she's invited into the
Right.
kitchen, and my daughters have been invited into the kitchen to put
Mhm.
on, the smock or the apron to help. Aunt
Mm-hmm.
Fran in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
But they've they've evolved into their own version of what that
Mm-hmm.
looks like with and there was a period of time when I was married that we were all vegetarians, and so
Mm-hmm.
there was so that's an interesting pivot in that how do you create change if you've been assigned this role as, I'm the black sheep, and but I perpetuated that, right? I kept saying it, and it was like my cloak that I wore, right?
Drummer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was
Mm-hmm.
expected to be the smart ass and the handsome one, of course, but you know.
Got to be the smart ass, right?
Yeah, everybody's got them.
Yeah, well, you got to be the troublemaker, you
It's just
know.
interesting how, as the diversity of the families changes, I think there's opportunity for change in the role and the responsibility and the habit that's created. And there was some really healthy habits that my the girl's mom created, because we were eating at first, before tofurkey before everybody was like worried about how much soy that we were eating, that it was supposedly not great for you. There was that period of time, but the tofurkey was delicious. And then like there was a field roast from, I want to say, Whole Foods, that was like so good.
Mm.
Um, because I don't know about you, I'm going to be controversial. I really don't enjoy the turkey part of the whole Thanksgiving thing.
If I don't
It's
ever have to
usually
cook another
dry and
goddamn
it's,
turkey again, I'll be thrilled. Not that my turkeys have ever been dry, because they haven't, but I've cooked many turkeys.
yeah.
And I mean a lot of turkeys. One year I donated 6 fully cooked turkeys.
Say what?
Well, yeah, to homeless families.
Did you have a
Or
commercial kitchen of some sort that I don't
I had
know?
a very large kitchen at one time, and I cooked 6 full meals with all
This
the
has to
stuff.
be during your marriage, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. In
Um,
NorCal.
yeah, yes. And I put it all together and delivered it because, it was Thanksgiving and that's what you do.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but things that are, yeah. And so if I never have to cook another turkey again, I'm fine with that.
You're okay with that. So you
I'm
won't be in the
fine.
kitchen this Thursday?
No, I've given up cooking turkey. I mostly eat sushi and ramen on Thanksgiving.
Oh my God. I
I love it.
had the best ramen
Mm,
in Hawaii. The Kauai, my daughter's partner is a server at an amazing restaurant called Ama. And
hmm
it's we had and she's like, "Dad, are you down for some ramen?" I'm like, I was kind of embarrassed to say that, other than like a couple noodles, which is
Oh,
considered,
you've never had ramen?
no, not properly served
Oh,
ramen. And my daughter she's so smart. She's so amazing. They're both so amazing, but Olivia is so well traveled and
mm,
cultured in other cultures. And
mm,
she like, so they serve it in this bowl, of course, and you get this long wooden spoon that's like a deep spoon, and
hmm
a fork, of course, but or chopsticks. So I went traditional. I did not use a fork. I'm so proud of myself. And I was thinking, how the hell am I going to eat noodles with chopsticks? And my daughter like hooked me up and showed me how you get a
You
little
got
bit of
it.
the fish, and then you roll it up, and then you put it all in the spoon, and then
hmm
shovel the spoon into your mouth, and it was like
hmm
so good.
Oh yeah, ramen is amazing.
Yeah.
So that's usually what we do. I just
Okay.
gave up cooking turkey, so now we either
All right.
usually it's ramen and sushi. Sometimes it'll be Chinese food, but
Okay.
it's just, I'm just done eating
Anything mom
turkey.
doesn't have to cook, in other words.
Yes, yes, yes. One year we went out to dinner, uh, you know,
Yeah.
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 I mean, yeah. I don't want to cook a turkey. I've cooked
All
many
right.
turkeys.
Noted.
Yeah,
And
but
I can successfully say that I've never cooked a turkey on my own and have no desire to do so.
yeah,
It's just
no.
not the thing. Like I'll buy some turkey breast, like,
Mhm.
because it's typically not I mean, it sure comes out as the centerpiece, right? But
Usually beautiful.
yeah, and then like my grandfather was always like, save the neck for Gramps. It's like, really? Okay. Ew.
The only reason to cook turkey is to make really great gravy. So
Ah, okay.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
And then were you guys part of the, like in my family, my mom and dad were both athletes. So like our lives kind of surrounded sports in general, but on Thanksgiving, of course, there was the early game, and then you got to time the food to come out at like in between two games or at halftime, or it was that's the Robert House, that's for sure.
Oh no. I
Yeah.
mean, my family would watch, football or whatever, but if my mother said dinner's ready, dinner's ready.
Yeah. No, it was the other way around at our household. It
Yeah.
still is. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
My sister
Yeah.
will time her Thanksgiving around the whatever game is on. Although
Oh, okay.
My brother's a big Cowboys fan and they just played today. So I don't, are they playing again on Thursday? Probably. Yeah.
I have
It's
no
just,
idea.
I know you don't, you could care less. Yeah. All right.
Because
So,
my family used to watch the 49ers all the time, you know. So,
So part of the evolution of that table gathering, I've experienced is where, you people have become, I would like to say, more mindful and tapping into that, which is why we gather, which is to express gratitude. And there've been tables I've sat at where we go around the table and share at least one thing we're grateful for amongst the eye rolls of the younger generation. Um,
can we just get over it? Yeah.
So you don't have to be stuck in the rut that you're dealt with. What
Mm.
would you say to our listeners? What would you offer as like top way to break free from that?
Do what you want to do. Do something fun. Is that what you're asking? Like do something
Well,
other
no.
than
So yeah. So I'm not saying you can blow your family off and say,
no,
I'm going
no.
to go to the Catskills and have fun and, or I'm going to go to Hawaii and swim on the beach or like I'm saying like you're showing up at your family's whoever's hosting this year
Yeah.
but they all know you as typically
Oh.
know you as fill in the blank and I don't know about you, but I have for many years, there's been a lot of years where change has started to take place where I first I became aware of it. So I'm answering my own question. First, I became aware of the patterns and I would
Hmm.
notice it. And so it's 5 hours, 5.5 hours to Florida on a plane. There's a lot of opportunity to reflect on who I want to be and how I want to show up and represent who I really am, as opposed
Hmm.
to, oh, little Donnie's here, right?
Well, it's funny is that sometimes even when you do show up as a different person, they those other people are really invested in keeping you right where you were. They don't like
Why
change.
do you think that is?
I don't know.
Is it as simple as those known associations that we've been talking about for a long time?
I
Like,
think
is
they
it
have something
known and
invested in
comfortable?
it.
You
Yeah,
think
I think
so?
they have something invested in it because you know, I mean, unfortunately, I don't have really nice family. Like if I showed up, I'm, evil queen. Um, unfortunately. Um, and they would want to keep me there. They would never see my accomplishments. They would never see that I'm not that person.
Hmm.
No matter how hard I tried or how perfect I did it,
Yeah.
they have something invested in keeping me in that spot. And in those cases, my advice is don't go. Go do something you want to do. Don't try and fight that. Don't bother. If you feel like that's how it's going, and you shouldn't have to do that. And if you go and want to do the right thing and want to go, at some point you're going to feel, disrespected or violated emotionally. It's okay to walk out, even though it's a holiday. I'm sorry. It's okay.
Is there anything less harsh than that, Tina, in your
I
opinion?
don't, no, I don't think so. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think
all or
so.
nothing.
Like,
It's you're either there and you acquiesce or you I don't agree.
well, I mean, I just don't think that people are wanting to see the best version of you.
I
I mean,
really
maybe your family is.
I
Maybe
yeah,
I'm just
I want to
speaking for my
offer like
family.
my as much
But if you feel disrespected and invalidated as a
yeah, no,
human
that's
being,
different.
then
That's
leave.
different. That's different.
So that's where I'm coming from, is that
Yeah, yeah.
extreme and that's your family, then it's okay to leave. It's okay to walk away and say thank you very much and have a nice life. It's okay to do that.
Okay.
If they're willing to see you in a different light and you show up as who you truly are and they see it and they acknowledge it, fine, great. Have a fabulous holiday. But let's say you go to your family and you show up as your best self and all they do is beat you up. Then what are you going to do? You're going to stand there and try and prove it to them?
No.
They're
No,
right.
no.
That's my point.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
invested in
So,
keeping that talk track.
yeah, my experience is slightly different in that my parents have always, my family in general has always cheerleaded for me.
Mm,
It's usually been me that's holding on to the patterns, right? And
okay.
me stepping into this is who I am when I go to Florida. I eat whatever I want. I gain 10 pounds, like whatever, right? Like that's what I'm talking. I'm not talking about being disrespected. That's not acceptable in any
Right.
holiday, like whether it's
Right.
family or not. No,
Yeah.
absolutely remove yourself
Right.
from that situation.
Right.
Or invite them to come to therapy with you if that's an option. But yeah, no, I'm talking more about just the internal programming that we kind of our internal representation, which we've talked about, like this idea of who we're supposed to be in their eyes, good, bad, or indifferent, and how to that you can show up different. And but what you're talking about is being emotionally healthy and being
Mhm.
able to make safe choices for yourself
Right.
in spite
Right.
of who's in charge of the family or the gathering or the hosting or the who cares.
Who absolutely cares? If you're unhappy, leave.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I mean, but if it's on you, like you've got this, you know, tape going on in your head where you're not good enough or I got to show up this way or that way. I think honestly, the best way to do it is show up as you. And if you have
yeah,
a really great family, they'll see you.
right.
If they're not that great, they're going to see the monster they create.
And that takes time.
Yeah.
I will just again share from my
Hmm.
personal perspective of, my family watching, but they've been watching me for a long time. Like they all I didn't know this, but so when I first got sober in 1986, they came down for family therapy. What I didn't know is they came down and didn't like I was in one session with them as the family, but they were coming down a second time to work with the therapists on site for
Mm,
themselves.
that's a very nice family.
Um, yeah, that's not to say that there may have been a knockdown, drag out wrestling happening in one of the sessions where I went after my dad and I had the
Happens.
thought to raise my hand to hit him back for the first time in my life and I
Mm,
couldn't. And my brother was
mm.
screaming and pulling me off of my dad. It was pretty I thank God cameras weren't around back then because it's pretty harrowing kind of situation.
Well, I
But they
mean,
kept showing up. That's my family, right?
but they
They,
kept showing up.
regardless of how I acted, they kept showing up.
Now, did your extended family then judge you for all the things that you did growing up? Do you know?
I mean, it's not like I burned down a mall or something. Like,
I didn't burn down a mall either, but okay.
yeah, I don't think so. I don't
Hmm.
think so. As I think
Interesting.
about like, because my dad's parents were, well, my dad's dad passed when he was young. So my meme and Pepe, which is grandmother and grandfather in French, lived in Massachusetts, and then my mom's parents, who were both still alive, not now, but then, Nanny and Gramps, were in Ridgefield, Connecticut, which is about an hour drive from New Milford, where we all lived and grew up. But the drive
Mhm.
to Massachusetts was amazing, but it was far away. It was 2 hour drive.
Mhm.
So that experience was, Meme had the whole, like, she was in charge. It was her home, and like we all had special dinners before and after the Thanksgiving. It was like a whole deal. So it
Mhm.
wasn't, and that was childhood. That was all childhood. So it was like being taken care of as a young child. I'm not talking three, but even up until 8 and 9. It was more of a kind and loving
Mhm.
atmosphere than it was about judgment, because you're still children. Like, until you hit like 10 and you turn the corner into those early adolescent days of teenage angst and whatnot. I don't think there was a lot of judgment that I was aware of. Um,
Mhm. That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, sometimes my memory gets clouded about my childhood, right? I had it pretty good. I had it pretty good. Unfortunately, some of the trauma that happened to me supersedes the good in
Mhm.
my head and my heart.
Yeah, I think that's common for everyone, you know.
Yeah, that's
I
that's really
do.
the crux of it all, isn't it? Is like
Oh
you're
yeah.
entering into the trauma zone.
Yeah, I mean, you're really into it. You're invested into it for some reason. And we all are. I think it's just because sometimes it still hurts, or there's something in there that you still might be learning from, or it might be a reminder of something. That's how I
Mhm.
kind of see those things. Especially if it's hard to heal certain things when those people aren't here anymore. That's the other one. So,
Indeed. Yeah.
you know, um, but yeah, I mean, we all have trauma. I think showing up as your best self is, the right move. Like you want to be who you are. And hopefully people know that Thanksgiving isn't about, I don't think it's about what it used to be about, like, pilgrims and Indians and all that. It's not about that anymore. I think it's just a time where people need to remember that they should be grateful that they have families, um, and that they have food on their table, have a roof over their head, friends that they can call.
Yeah. It's
And that's about it.
I don't know why it seems easier. We've talked about this theory of the negative bias, right? And fight or flight,
Mm.
the built-in protector, but like, why is it seem that it's so much easier to go to the negative than it is to be showing up as your authentic self, and your higher self, your evolved self, the self that different parts of the world know, and but yet your family still kind of sees you in a certain light. But I don't I will say that, like, I feel like it's me that has done the fitting into the role, like, and I don't know if that was to like create comfort for them. I'm just thinking about this right now. I haven't tried to figure this out yet for the purpose of the podcast, because that's not what we do. Hang on, let me go to the script. What am I supposed to say next?
I
uh,
think I think we do it for a number of reasons.
it's
Some
easier.
Sometimes it's to identify with somebody else. Sometimes it's so somebody else can see you, I think. When people come up and they tell you about something that is sad or negative, I think it's so that they can feel validated. Like they want to be seen. They want their pain to be seen because then it's shared and it's not alone. I think that's why.
That's very interesting, because after my daughter opened up to me about some of her angst and pain, just saying it cleared space.
Right.
There was
Sometimes
no,
people
like,
need
I
to
didn't come
say
in
it.
with the magic, oh, here's what you do to make it feel better. I didn't do that, which, if I tried to, would have made it worse.
Yeah.
Because then I wouldn't have, it would have appeared that I didn't hear her,
Right. Right.
which is really
Just
what most people want, is to be heard and seen.
yeah, especially if it's, multiple wounds, they want
Mm.
it to be seen because they may be experiencing it as um I'm only worth being hurt.
Mm.
And if they share it with somebody and somebody else validates it, maybe that person won't hurt them.
Hmm.
You know, it's being, I can't get the words right. A witness to somebody's strife, basically. They're not alone.
I like that. I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, most people have forgotten what Thanksgiving is really about. Not pilgrims and Indians, but being grateful,
Yeah.
sharing a meal, you know.
I mean, it's
Um,
literally, I did think about this. It's literally, you're giving thanks. You're thanksgiving.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
It's
it's
in the title, people.
it's in the title. Yes, it is. I did have that thought when I was thinking about, I think, I don't know if I forget when you texted me, like, what do you want to talk about this week? And I was like, that had been on my mind because I knew I was coming home as far away from all family. Like my daughters are in, Olivia's in Kauai, Juliet's in Barcelona, my brother and sister in Florida. Like I'm not going to be around family. And
Right.
I'm thinking that there's only been a few times in my history where I wasn't, and um, I made use of my time by volunteering,
Mm, hmm mm,
which is super uncomfortable because you I'm missing the connection, the food,
hmm
the
right.
feelings that come along with a family gathering
Mm,
that are the
hmm
positive side, right?
right.
Um,
Right.
So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do this year. Haven't decided yet. I may be having ramen with somebody. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Haven't gotten an invite.
You can come have ramen with me.
Hint, hint, wink, wink. Yeah, now that I'm a ramen guy, I mean,
Right? Because I think I mentioned ramen to you, and you're like, I don't need, what was it? What did you call it?
No, no,
Is it?
no. This is different. My daughters and I, after going sledding in Washington State for the first time, with the Wellies, this family with that had daughters the same age as ours. We were just this clan that went and did things. We stopped and had, what's the other thing? Pho.
Uh-huh.
It
I
was
love it.
so bad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I had a stomach ache after. I mean, the
Oh, no,
theory
no,
of
no.
pho is the same, right? It's still so I hate to digress into the definitions of pho versus or is it pho? Pho is pho, right?
Pho, pho.
Pho versus ramen. What's the difference?
The noodle, rice
The
noodle.
noodle itself.
The noodle itself is different. One is Vietnamese. Pho is Vietnamese.
Okay.
And it's usually beef broth, according to um,
The
my
what we had at
Vietnamese
Ama's
friend.
was beef broth. I mean, I think you could choose. I can't
You
remember.
usually choose,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was
yeah,
beef. Oh
I
no. Oh no, no, no.
pork,
Oh no. My daughter wanted me to have some I can't remember the name of it because remember I don't retain certain stuff that I just don't, it's not even up in the cloud. I'd have to like go to the website for the restaurant to find the name of it. But there was some beef ramen dish she wanted me to have, and Zane, my daughter's partner, who's an amazing man, he came to the table and he's like, so I got bad news. We're out of the blah blah. And my
oh,
daughter and I were just like air just went right out of our sails. But we made the best of it, and we had this amazing fish ramen. It was just so good. And we had this appetizer, this ani. Oh my God, the fish over there is so crazy good. I
well,
ate
it's
more
right
fish
there.
in a week than I have in the last year.
Yeah,
Okay. It was so good. Oh my
I'm
God.
not surprised. I mean,
Oh,
it's Hawaii. If you're eating something other than fish or ramen or poke, I don't know what you're doing with yourself. Like, I don't know what you're doing. It's like
I had a
saying I
lot
went to
of fish
Hawaii and didn't
tacos
have,
too. I very
Right.
much
That's like
enjoy the
going to
fish
Hawaii and
tacos.
saying,
Yeah.
I didn't get, a plumeria. Like, what? I didn't go to the beach. What? Where? What?
Yeah.
See,
It,
it's
the
kind of the
water
same.
was a little chilly, I will
Yeah.
say. But there was the one day that we went to the beach for a few hours. She bought some like little bag that you can put your phone into, and there's like we just had so much fun. I drank a bunch of
Mm.
salt water because like trying to dive down, hold your breath, but you have to blow your breath out, or else you float up to try and
Hmm.
take an underwater picture.
Yes.
So much silly fun.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hawaii is wonderful. But yeah.
yeah, I loved it.
Um, yeah. I mean, holidays are, it that family dynamic plays out. And it's why most of the time somebody burns a turkey or um, you know, it's just it doesn't work because there's a lot of, everybody's got their role to play. And when somebody steps out of that role is when there's the problem. Good, bad, or indifferent, by the way,
Yeah,
because everybody else has got their role. And if you don't, if you're not doing it, then it's going to fall apart.
right.
Hmm.
So the
Yeah.
the the good word is from the two award-winning hypnotherapists is that you have to give yourself permission to
Hmm.
show up as your authentic self, as who you are and want to be, as opposed to who you used to be or are thought of to be, and
Yeah.
then have the emotional intelligence to know that you have every right to protect your peace and serenity and
Leave.
leave. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
Now,
give it your best shot, right? Like, why wouldn't you show up? It's your family. You actually love them. It's the only set you're going to have. So,
you have to
you
give
know,
them the chance to
that's what I'm saying.
embrace the change. Right?
Yeah.
Like you're the first Thanksgiving that you come home and you're like this whatever, brilliant whatever, and you're, spouting all these things out and expecting everybody to just kind of acquiesce to your brilliance and they're not receiving you well. You have to I think you just have to be a little mindful of how you show up as your authentic self. You don't have to
Hmm.
be a jerk about it. And this is
Yeah.
from personal
No.
experience, right? Like standing up for myself has been hard because
Hmm.
I'm a Scorpio, right? So you push me into the corner, and I'm gonna just like strike and go for the
Hmm.
kill. And
Right.
I learned that I don't have to do that, that I can appropriately stand up for myself without being a dick,
Hmm. Hmm.
which is hard. But the more
It
you
is hard. It
practice
is.
standing up
Hmm.
for yourself in an appropriate way without yelling and screaming, without name calling, without,
Hmm.
the drama.
Hmm.
It's possible. I can tell you from my personal experience that is
Yeah.
possible.
Absolutely, it's possible. But you also, it's funny when you come in as your authentic self, it's usually when somebody else throws a monkey wrench and does something that will test you, whether they say something inappropriate or they do
Whether
something
it's on purpose
inappropriate.
or not, because they're just
Well,
being
it depends on the
them.
family member.
Yeah, yeah.
you know
Well, yeah,
I mean,
certainly.
sometimes some
Yeah,
people like to say things to get you going, right? And you know 9 times out of 10, it's best to just, carry yourself above it and move on. Sometimes you might have to say something. Sometimes.
yeah.
Like it's not okay. It's just not.
All
Yeah.
right.
It's
Do we want to talk about the other holidays and because they
sure.
all seem to have their own um
Thanksgiving is
parameters and
always the holiday where everybody spouts crazy shit at the table. I mean, do you know the craziest thing you've ever heard at a Thanksgiving table? Like, there's got to be one, right? I don't know any, so I was asking you.
I, I
I mean, I
I
can maybe
don't.
think of one.
I don't.
Yeah.
I really don't. Yeah, sorry
It's
to let you
crazy though.
down. I
It's crazy though, but think about, I mean, maybe not you. I've just seen many families where there's always something crazy that comes flying out of somebody's mouth at the Thanksgiving table. Like, Why then? You could have said it all day. Somebody was standing around. You could have said it then.
Hmm.
No, no. You waited for everybody to be sitting here. Kind of funny.
Um, Maybe it's because it's a floor that has people's attention and there's an opportunity to strike,
I don't know.
so to speak. I don't know. Yeah,
But that's what I'm saying. Like Thanksgiving's fun for that one.
I've done my best to low pro, but low profile, but which is not easy for me to do because I have an opinion and ask me and I'll tell
Mm,
you it. Um, and if I'm triggered, right, before I learned all these tools that we
right.
use in therapy, like I didn't know how to calm myself down.
Yeah.
I
Right.
didn't know how to take a time out like emotionally so that I didn't have to freak out and yell and scream and barge out, right? Be that, that
Yeah.
DICK guy, right? Um,
Yeah.
so there's, if you've listened to our episodes, there's tools that you can use
Yeah.
to
Absolutely.
soothe yourself because you're going into fight or flight.
Yeah. Definitely. Family survival.
Yes.
Family
It's
survival
it's
is
Hunger Games.
is Thunder Games. Yeah. And I
Katniss
mean,
Aberdeen.
yeah. So I mean, then there's Christmas, right? Mm,
Yeah. Which is a whole different. I really I'm going to express some gratitude because my mom's mom, we would go there for that's the Ridgefield, which was, 45 minutes, half an hour away. And my uncle was all it was a big family gathering for the
mm,
New Year's the Christmas Eve dinner that my nanny put on and she's this little Italian lady who's always in the kitchen and we would play cards after. It was like a really nice time and that we got to be around people that we weren't around all the time that we loved. So
right.
I'm expressing my gratitude for the good. I have tended over the years to hang on to the dark side of my childhood. And as I've gotten older and healthier, and become more aware of, personal responsibility in my part, I'm like super grateful for what I had because it was like literally like we would drive home. This is when we were little, and it would be late, and we'd be tired, and we'd be cranky kids in the back seat, and look out the window. You can look for Rudolph's nose, and like we would just be
Mm,
glued to the windows of the car on the way
mm,
home as
mm-hmm,
my dad's sliding down this steep hill because a foot of snow dropped. Yeah.
mm-hmm,
Um, and then I have to give it to my parents, man. They went above and beyond with the whole gift giving and the tree cutting and trimming. And, we always had a big tree that we would go off. And I had this memory fly back when I was in Finland and we were on the train going from Helsinki back to, or from Tampere to Helsinki. And we drove through
mm-hmm,
the countryside and it looked like where we would go to Mr. Walton, who was one of the teachers with my dad at Canterbury, had property and he would let us go up and literally walk his property and find a tree we wanted, and we would cut it down
mm-hmm,
and drag it back to the car. And it was
mm-hmm,
big because we had this big
mm-hmm.
common room where we would set up Christmas. But I also have a distinct memory of my father beating my butt with a Lincoln log because I wouldn't clean him up fast enough because I'd moved on to another toy.
Mm. Well,
So there's that.
I get it.
But I'm
I
grateful
get
for
it.
the good and the true, right? Which is the spirit of it was it was way better than I gave my parents credit for, I think. And my memories are clouded with, the dark parts of what my experience was versus the good. Because there was good,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
because my brother
Yeah.
and sister didn't have the same experience that I had. And we were all having the same event,
Mm-hmm.
just different
It's all
lenses.
it's always funny to hear the different lenses.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. I mean, it's funny when there is a brother and sister involved, there's three different ways of looking at something. Usually two will have very similar, and then there'll be one that's completely
Yeah,
different.
my brother and sister, I think, I don't know if I've said this to you, I believe. They're Irish twins,
Mm.
so they're born less than a
Yeah,
year apart.
right.
And they are like literally kind of twinning through life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're
Mm.
roommates
Okay.
now. Like they
Oh.
share I mean, my sister and I are super, super close.
Mm.
We'll never be as close as she and my brother.
Mm.
But in
Yeah.
our own right, we're close.
Right. Right.
Right? As I am with my brother, I have my own relationship with my brother, but it's just interesting the dichotomy of those two and their experiences growing up. But they were also not the troublemaker in the family. That used to be
Mm.
me,
Right. Right.
you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my brother and sister are quite a bit older than me, so um
What's the gap again? I forget. I know they were older, but
uh my brother is 12 years older than me. My sister would be 13 years older than me.
okay. Yeah, that's a
So
significant gap.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was always, my brother and I were the closest. Um, and I mean, it was just the thing that happened. It wasn't that I wasn't close to my sister. It was that, um, I mean, a really good example is we were in the snow for Christmas one year, and the pipes had frozen in a house that we had rented. And my brother and I are walking along outside, and my sister's walking with us. My brother and I are just walking on top of the snow going along, and my sister, every step she takes, she starts sinking. And it was the running joke of, the day. It was like, oh, there she is again, always sinking in the snow. That was just her job. That was part of her dynamic. She was the one that always would just, if it was good, if she was somebody was going to fall in the snow, it was going to be her.
Hmm.
But not my brother and I. So, but yeah.
Cute.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, well, she did not think so. She hated it,
Yeah.
but it was fine.
Where did you grow up in the snow? It doesn't snow in
We would
Northern
go to Tahoe.
California. Oh,
We would
okay.
go to Tahoe.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
we'd go rent
Yeah.
houses in Tahoe and the pipes would freeze, and you know,
Yeah.
my brother would
All
go get
right.
me icicles.
So you
Uh,
guys would leave town for Christmas.
Occasionally, we would,
Okay.
every couple of years, but mostly it was spent. Christmas was usually spent Christmas Eve with my godparents,
Okay.
and their family, which there would be, a whole bunch of us kids together, all different ages. And then the next day we would end up going to the grandmother's house. Don't touch anything. Um, don't eat that food. And then we would go over to my other grandmother's house where I could eat.
Yeah, my mom's mom, who we called Nanny, had a candy drawer. So when we went to Nanny's, we knew where we were allowed to go and encouraged to go. Straight into the kitchen to the candy drawer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if the grandmother you couldn't eat at her, nope, you weren't allowed to eat the candy either. I wasn't even allowed to leave my mother's side. Like, you were going to stay right here the entire time.
Mm,
It was very strange. I think it had to do with all my cousins and family and they were all terrified of my mother. So you just, yeah, it was a very strange place. But then we would stay there very quickly and then go to my other grandmother's house where I was fine.
yeah. There were definitely areas that were less accessible at my nanny's and Gramps.
Isn't that funny?
Like there was a basement that scared the crap out of me that I did not like going down there when asked to help go get something down there. That was scary.
Did your
Upstairs
grandparents sleep
was
in the same bed? This
my
is a weird
parents.
question. No,
Yes,
your
they.
grandparents.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So I'm trying
Because
to think of their.
I'm trying to figure out if this is like an age thing, like a generational thing.
They weren't Lucy and Ricky.
Oh,
I'm
so
pretty sure. Well, I don't know. There might have been separate bedrooms. I don't know. I can't remember. I think there was only one bedroom for them upstairs. I
my
think.
great
Fran,
grandmother and yeah,
my sister would
great
know. She knows everything.
my great grandmother, my great grandfather, who came here from Spain, they slept Ricky Lucy style, and I
And
could
just
not.
for the listeners that have no idea what that means, there was a show called I Love
Do,
Lucy.
Two twin beds.
They're two twin beds that are next to each other with a nightstand in between, but they were not
Exactly.
conjoined.
Together.
And it
They were
wasn't a
not together.
queen or king or a California king that they
Which is
slept
bizarre.
together.
She had 7 children. Like, how did that happen? I
Well,
don't understand. But anyways,
yeah.
my actually my fondest memory, and this is how it goes. Christmas with that great grandmother. I think I was 4, which means she was 90 something. Um, Old Spanish woman, yeah. Um,
Huh.
she great grandmother. She loved to tease me, so she would then suck the eyeballs out of fish head soup in front of. Yeah, look at you. She's a tough old lady, though. Look at your face. It's what the
That's
Spaniards do.
disgusting. I'm sorry.
I know, but
I
that's
know
what they used
that's
to
like
do.
generational and then culture, but
Oh
sucking
yeah,
the
culture.
eyeballs, like,
She would do it just to drive because I would literally scream and run out of the kitchen, and she would stand there and laugh
for
like
those
it
of
was
you
the.
that can't
But
see, I have shock and awe on my face
you do. But
and a little
Spanish
bit of
people,
throw
fish
up in the
head
back of
soup.
my throat, a little bit,
Sorry,
just a
fish
little
head soup.
bit.
I mean, this is also the same woman. She had cows and rabbits and chickens and
Right.
and that was dinner. Like if
Yeah.
you came over and she wasn't expecting you, she'd tell you go outside and get dinner. Gotta go get one of those chickens.
All right. Noted. All right. So is handling Christmas any different, you think, than Thanksgiving? I feel like it is because it's almost a two-parter because you got
Yeah.
the eve and then the day, and then you have the Christmas dinner. It's like 3 days
But
and two.
yeah, it's a lot. Like I think a lot of people overdo it. Um, where they got to be somewhere all the time. How about just chill? Like,
Yeah.
you
So
know,
that requires kind of
overload.
the matriarch of it's usually the matriarch that's in charge of all this, typically,
Mhm.
right?
Mm,
The
yeah.
husband, the partner, if you will, right, will be 20, 24. The partner may have some input, but it's typically the head of household that's
Mhm.
running the show. And
Yeah, usually.
so you're taking that person's lead typically. Uh,
Mhm. I don't know. I think I think the number one thing to remember is, first of all, it's only 2 days out of the year, Christmas. You can make it. Go spend some time with your family. But if it's really that bad, don't go. Like that's my best advice because
it's
I mean, there's nothing you can't predict somebody else's behavior when you've got so many personalities going on, right?
I'm going to put the therapist hat on and say it's an opportunity.
Sure.
It's an opportunity to show up aware of who you are and who that you think you're supposed to be, and it's an opportunity for your own personal growth and for someone
Absolutely.
that you love, right? As much as we have
Mhm.
angst with these people on and off through the years at any given time, we love them. I do,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so,
Mhm.
and I know they want the best for me. It's
Mhm.
just when you are outside of the swim lane that they have you in, it takes a minute to adjust, in all
Well, not only
fairness.
that, but you're also in overload. So you're
Everybody
highly
is. Yeah.
suggestible to slipping right back into that person you used to be.
It's easier to do that. Yep. And not
Yeah.
cause waves and have a scene and all that jazz.
Like,
But over the years, again, I'm just using
you
my
can
personal
learn.
experience. I've shown up and then something magical happened after I had my own children, created my own routines that incorporated some of which I experienced as a child myself. But like one of the most memorable Christmases I can think of is I flew home and surprised my parents. They had
Mm,
no idea I was coming, and they were all having Christmas Eve dinner at my sister and brother's house. And I showed up at the door, banging on the door loud and ho ho
mm,
ho, Mary! And there's a video from inside that somebody was taping my mom, and she was like, there was like a moment where she's like, "That's my son's voice." And then
mm.
as I became visible, I'll send you the picture. There's this great picture that got taken of my mom, just like just shocked that I was there in person. And so that's showing up differently, right? Showing up for somebody
Yeah,
else as opposed to what am I going to get? Am I going to get the thing I wanted? Am I going to get 17 presents and my brother got 19? Like, you know what I mean? That kind of
yeah,
bullshit, that
yeah,
commercialized bullshit.
yes, yes.
Let's how about we learn from Thanksgiving and we give thanks and then we continue
Mhm,
that on into the Christmas spirit of giving.
mhm, mhm,
How about that?
mhm. I mean, I think that's a great idea.
How about
You
what's in
know,
it from me as opposed to what's in it for me? How about that?
right? What can I give? Um, yeah, I just, you, I mean, it's an effort, right? It's an effort to show up and be your authentic self.
Hmm.
And you can absolutely do it. And don't let anybody rattle you. You can absolutely do it.
Yeah.
And yes, and you know, don't overload, right? So because that's where we lose it is when we're just like trying to do it all and we're so overloaded and we just face plant.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's
Yep.
okay. I mean, they're your family. They'll love you, right?
That's right. This too shall pass.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does pass.
Yeah.
It does pass.
And it gets
Yes.
better.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
can. It can.
Absolutely. You can
You
go out on your own and make your own traditions.
sure. Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's
All right.
basically what you're supposed to do, anyways, right? Go out on your own, make your own traditions.
Yeah.
Don't forget where you came from. Show some people some love.
All right.
Be with your family.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
Happy holidays. Happy
Happy holidays.
holidays.
Happy holidays.
It can be a magical time of the year. But for a lot of people, I think it's a really difficult time of the year. I think you're absolutely right in what you said earlier in the beginning of the show. It's a really tough part of the year for people. For me, it's
It
crazy
is.
good. It's like my birthday's in late November, then there's Thanksgiving, then there's Christmas, then there's New Year's. It's like, and then in January, it's my sobriety birthday.
Day.
It's yeah.
Hmm.
But
Well,
this is the first year I'm
I
not going to
mean,
be around family at all.
so I mean, here's an idea. If you've got, so much family, or you've got lots of presents, or if you have none at all, or whatever, find somebody to do something nice for.
Yeah. How about that?
Just
Pay,
talk to
pay it
somebody.
forward.
Be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, be nice to somebody.
Let's
I
just
mean,
start there. Can we all just practice a little kindness?
yeah, just be nice to
Just a
somebody.
freaking smile.
Hmm.
I've told
Just
you
be
about
nice
my
to some.
smile technique that I do, right? When I travel,
Yes.
I've extended it to like I'm walking by all sorts of different strangers that are on this is a big vacation island, of course. Lots of native people live there as well. But like
Hmm.
I noticed that people won't respond to a hi. Like we went on this really long hike and but if you smile at somebody, they'll smile back. And I
Hmm.
believe
Hmm.
that that is a little bit of a soul exchange of goodness. So
Yeah.
how about we just start there? How about we end with that? That be
Hmm.
the goal is to spread a little cheer.
Hmm.
How about that?
Doesn't cost you anything.
It's free. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right.
Absolutely. It's free. Do
Cool.
something nice for somebody.
Nice. That's a good way to close, I think, unless you got anything
Yeah.
else.
Nope.
All right.
Do something nice for somebody. Smile.
Which would include us. You could like, follow, or subscribe.
There you go. You
We
can
are
do
in the
something really
receiving
nice.
mode of the holidays. Feel free to come along for the ride. I promise we will not be skipping any other episodes. Promise. Promise. And I'll put this in the show notes, but if you want to get in touch with either of us, our websites will be in the show notes. Um, we appreciate your
Call us.
comments, right? Like if
Absolutely.
you agree, disagree, question, want to call us out on something or whatever, it's all
Hmm.
welcome. It's all welcome
Hmm.
in the
Go
comments.
for
And you
it.
never know, something you say or ask or point out might turn into an episode.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
So
comment,
there you go.
follow, like,
Tina, close us
subscribe.
out.
We're here. Our subconscious speaks. Question is, are you listening?
I am. I love you, my friend.
Love you. I'm glad you're home.
Thanks. All right, everybody. We'll see you soon. Happy holidays.